Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and in just a moment we're going to be looking at some hands I played on the 25NL GG Reg Table Street yesterday. I put a long session in, a long session over, a long day over 3 sessions. I played just over 8 hours for, I think it was 5,000 hands, and these are the hands that my filter has spat out for me to look at. Again, these are all hands where we get to a river, so we play every street, including the river. Yeah, I thought the games were reasonable, to be fair. They weren't amazing by any stretch, but they were certainly reasonable. There was definitely some fish around. Annoyingly, there was plenty of Eastern Europeans like this guy and this guy who just buying short. But then they don't seem to be playing a short stack of strategy. They're just shit, basically. So yeah, I enjoyed the grind. I enjoyed the day. We made a little bit of money and a fair chunk of rate back, plus some leaderboard dollars. So it was a worthwhile thing to do. I'll be playing again today, but I certainly won't be playing 8 hours again. It's a tough grind every day. I just felt like putting a grind in yesterday because I missed Tuesday because of the racing. So anyway, here were the hands. No doubt there'll be a fair bit of self-flagellation in there, and hopefully a little bit of praise for myself too. We're starting off here we're keeping the HUD stats on, by the way, because we do have a HUD at the table, so I would have been a little bit aware of what someone's stats were, or I would have had some reads at least. So we've got the Queens here. We have some dude opening off this short stack, just 3-betting large with the Queens against someone who's undoubtedly a fish. Trying to isolate them, trying to get heads up. Failed to do that because another fish just cold calls in the big blind. This guy annoyingly doesn't jam, so we can't re-jam and try and isolate him. We get this board. It checks. It checks. I mean, if this guy's got us beat, then good for him. We're not worried about that. We're just all in against him, I guess. But he's like, do we bet now to maybe just get heads up with this guy? But I mean, is that a value bet? I mean, it's a value bet against him. Is it a value bet against this player who cold called? Probably not. But if he's just in there with some random ace X holding, then just having him fold the equity that ace X has is a good thing, I guess. Maybe just bet small here and probably proceed with caution if he stays in and not give a fuck what he does. We do go with the small bet. This guy calls. This guy folds. So we get the absolute opposite of what we were hoping for. Turn 9. So we add a straight draw. Check again. Do we want to bet again here? I don't think so. I think it's getting too thin. I mean, it's just hard to know what these cold call ranges look like. And there's still some ace X in there. There's still some like ace jack, ace queen. Then we kind of wouldn't mind betting small again to get some value and also protect against that. Any worse hands calling? Pocket jacks is probably calling a smallish bet. But my issue is I just don't know what size to make it here. With like SPR of less than 2. Cold call 3. It's just a weird spot, and frankly, I just don't know. I mean, if we bet and we get jammed on, we probably have a fold. I just don't know, to be honest. It's a weird spot. But if we check and then he leads the river, we're probably going to end up calling because we'll convince ourselves that we've opened the door for him to bluff, even though I think like a large bet donkeying this river wouldn't be a bluff very often by humans. Don't know. Probably should just bet, to be honest. Just bet small. But I don't like reopening for small. I don't fucking know. We did go with check. River straight. Villain bets, and we just have an easy call. There's no raising. we lose to flushes, which he probably never has or rarely has. Ace King of Hearts probably doesn't exist, probably called 4 bets. Any worse, Ace X of Hearts maybe doesn't call flop, but maybe does, but doesn't call pre very often. Ace Queen 39.9 probably exists in his range a little bit. Yeah, just a call. We beat value that you can have, and we chop a lot. Well, not a lot. We just win a lot, I think, and don't lose very often. So it's just call. And he had Ace Queen with the Ace of Hearts, so that one didn't work out. Next time, pocket jacks. We open under the gun. We get call from the big blind. We flop a set. Check. I think I quite like getting big here. I think we're going to get a ton of folds, but we want to make a big pot. We want this pot to be fucking huge. We want it to be as big as possible. So, like, do I want to just, like, bet small here and, like, put his pocket 7s, put his pocket 5s, put his ace high in, like, annoying spots? Or do I want to just forget about that portion of his range a little bit and just bet large, get value from Queen X, get value from any draws he might have? I think just bet big and just start trying to build a really big pot, because we want to be all in by the river on most runouts. So if we want to be all in by the river, we need to start making some big bets. So I go with that. Reg. Just overbet Reg. Maybe not overbet pot. I think just pot there, or at least bigger than this. We want to be all in by the river, and we're not going to be able to be all in by using small sizes. When calls, we turn a full house. Villain checks. It's a pretty clean overbet spot now. What size overbet? If we go 3x pot, no, we don't need to go 3x pot. What would 2e be here? We go 2x pot, so that's a 20 he calls. That puts 50 in the pot. We'd have 80 behind. So we don't even need to go 20, like 17, 18-ish. 19, he calls. River, the guy just goes all in. Obviously, you have an easy call. And that was quite a favourable run out. King, Queen off. Open. 3-bet. Fold. If this guy 3-bet to a proper size, this would just be an easy fold. But he hasn't. So these are the problems you get in when we play with players who are 3-betting probably narrow ranges, even though this guy does look a bit like a whale. Nevertheless, it's probably still a relatively narrow 3-betting range. And even if this particular player isn't 3-betting a narrow range, in general, these small 3-bets from fishy players are going to be narrow ranges. So this is the problem that we have in these spots, is that we have a pure fold if he makes it in normal size, which would be like 11 or 12 here. We have a really easy pure fold, middle position versus small blind. But when they make it this size, you're probably still up against the same range or a similar range. Maybe not this guy again, but generally speaking now, I'm talking more in general. If you're up against like a typical like tight fish here who makes it this size, you're still up against the same range. You're just getting a much better price pre-flop. Now, whether this starts at what size King Queen starts making it into a call or a 4-bet range, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure the solver folds this if he makes a normal like solver-proof 3-bet size. So I think we're probably still in a pretty marginal spot here, but I just find it really hard to fold to these size 3-bets when we're in position post-flop, with most likely quite a big skill advantage. So we do call. We flop absolute gin, so we'd love to see that. Villain checks. Probably just has a bunch of air here, or something nutted. Maybe he's got a hand like pocket aces, pocket kings. He's scared of the queen. But we just start building the pot, I guess. Yep, don't mind that. He check raises. I don't think this is going to be a bluff very often, but we don't lose to very much. We lose to pocket jacks and ace queen. So yeah, just call and let him keep blasting. If he is somehow massively overplaying a hand like aces or kings, we don't want to discourage him from that. If he is just randomly bluffing, we don't want to discourage that either. So I don't often advocate slow playing when we get raised and we've got a strong hand, strong like nutted hand. Fuck it, just keep putting money in the pot. But on a board as like relatively dry like this, and that we've either like way ahead on, or very rarely way behind, there's just no reason to raise. So we call turn 3. Villain checks again. We've got a lowish SPR. We just need to bet something here. I go with like 1/3 again. Completely fine with that on this board. Villain virtually check min raises. Pretty much the same story as the flop. Although I am starting to get a bit more worried that we're beat now, because the double check raise in a 3-bet pot, I mean, fuck me, how nutted is that? But the guy might just be fucking around. Like, he's playing a 51 VPIP. He might just be fucking around. So just call again, and then obviously don't fold any rivers. He jams. We have the easy call. Nothing else to say. And this time we were cooled. King, queen, gonna go with the ISO. Call, fold. Flop of the world, or thereabouts. Check. Bet. And honestly, I'm not really that bothered about sizes against this guy. We're going to be able to build a pot to get all the money in anyway. I don't mind what size we go here. I don't have any particular preference, but because I'm making a video, I guess I have to make a decision on what size I prefer. Because we have the flush draw, to go with our top pair, therefore we're pretty heavily restricting blocking calls, probably on the smaller side. God knows what I did in game, but I think here on the like 1/3 to 40% size seems quite nice on the flop. We go 40%, he calls. Yep, one of the only turn cards we don't want to see. Disappointing. He checks. Don't want to reopen the betting again here. Maybe not. This guy's cold call means the fish. He probably has a disproportionate amount of ace-x floats in range. Like, a lot of players might fold there, like just say someone's cold call with ace-5 of hearts, ace-5 of spades. They might fold on the flop to the 40%. I think these guys fold far less. It's like, fuck you, I'm seeing one more card. So I think he has more ace-x in range than theory would have. Maybe check back and then just like make a chunky value bet on the river. We river the second nuts. He leads out. We should just be all in, shouldn't we? Yeah, just all in. Why am I not all in? Why am I not all in? I must have been rushed in this hand and just like clicked to raise, but I was 8 tabling. I am an old man. Maybe I just thought this puts him all in, when clearly it doesn't, because this is just an all in. This is just a misclick. It's not I'm going to choose this size. This is me clicking a button and not putting somebody all in, which is disappointing. He just called. And we potentially left 17 big blinds on the table. Ace jack suited. Open from an absolute whopper. 3-bet. I think we can just go bigger here. The one thing I started doing yesterday, later in the day, was just making larger 3-bets. That population does not seem to enjoy folding versus 3-bets in the normal configurations of like min raise up to 6 point something big blinds, or 2.2x up to like 7 big blinds. So I just started like narrowing my 3-bet range and just using larger sizes, which is theoretically not the correct thing to do, but I think works in practice quite nicely, because they're opening, like probably most players are opening too narrow to begin with, especially from the earlier streets. Or maybe even if they're not, what they're not doing is 4-betting correctly, and what they are doing is defending too many hands with calls. Now, if you look in GTO, it will be like if you're raising under the gun and you're being 3-bet by the button, you're supposed to fold like 60% of hands. That just isn't happening. But you're also supposed to 4-bet quite a few, and that also isn't happening. So there's too much in that middle portion that are hands that should fold that are calling and hands that should 4-bet that are calling. So I think just having like a more depolarized range and using larger sizes might be a nice approach. I guess we'll find out over the coming days. But that's what we're doing. That's what we started doing at the end of yesterday. It just felt better. Oops, skipped on to the next hand. So we did 3-bet here. He did call. We flop ourselves. Chop pair against a whale. Check. Against a whale, maybe don't worry too much about sizing 1/3. But again, 1/3 is going to allow us to get all the money. Again, I'm not really bothered about flop size. It's just a C-bet. Just don't miss the bet. I'm not too asked about the size. Just don't miss the bet, Reg. We did make the bet. We got a call. Break turn. We now have SPR just under 3. We probably need to go relatively big here. Now, if we went 20 and he calls, that's going to put 66 in the pot and 69 in the stack. So maybe like 22, something like that. 16-2, small Reg. If he calls now, we've got to jam the river as an overbet. I don't like it. This is not good. This is probably me just trying to make sure this guy doesn't fold, but that's a mental game, League. I know that's not the right approach. The correct approach is just build a massive pot. We have a strong hand against a whale. Just build a big pot. This is a mistake. He calls, and now we're going to have to overbet river because we've 70 in our stack and 61 behind, whereas if we'd bet an extra 6 or 7 big blinds, there would now be 75 and 60 odd left in our stack. So that's a mistake. He checks. We're all in anyway. He calls anyway. So no harm done. But, it's not good. I mean, this call is just whatever. Aces. Open. 3-bet. Another call. And another call. 3-10-4 rainbow. About as safe as it gets for aces. We'd only lose to sets. Donk. Call. I think we should just raise here and just run it. We lose to literally sets. We get loads of value from 10x. We get loads of value from pocket jacks, pocket queens that maybe's called. Yeah, I think I remember this hand and I don't think I raise. But I just absolutely should. On this board texture, it's as safe as you can get for aces. And there's plenty of turns and rivers which can either kill our action or kill our hand. Just raise Reg, although I'm pretty much sure I'm not going to. Yeah, this is bad from me. What I've been going through my head in game is multi-way raise will look too strong, you'll get too many overfolds, etc, etc, etc. That's what will have been going through my head. Worried that people would start overfolding versus raise. Well, this guy's just all in anyway, so just notice that now. Yeah, so we're only up against this guy. Just raise, Reg. You could just have like jacks, queens, kings here. Maybe some stuff like 10-9 suited, jack 10 suited. Yeah, just fast play, Reg. Check. Bet. Around half pot. Fucking Reg, what are you doing? What's going on here? It's just such an easy bet. I don't understand this check back. What could possibly have been going through my mind? I guess looking at his stats, it's very much... I guess 2 things are going on. Number 1, I'll finish that point. Maybe I'm just trying to induce some bluffs on the river. Maybe I'm just thinking, well, this guy just is probably drawing dead. And he looks aggressive, so maybe if we check back, maybe we can do some river bluffs. But he also could just have pocket 8s that doesn't fold. 10x still has like the jacks. I think like maybe like queens, maybe when we just call, maybe raises, maybe jacks does 2 on the flop. So I think maybe he has less jack, jack, queen, queen, because maybe when he donks for like 11 bigs and we just call after he calls. I know he can't raise the flop, can he? Because he just called. Fucking shut your fucking fat mouth, Reg. Yeah, anyway, just bet this turn, Reg. I guess I'm trying to induce some bluffs or what have you, but no. Just bet your fucking hand, Reg. River Queen. Check. Now we just have an easy bet. Probably for like 70% pot, maybe even bigger. Maybe we could pot, maybe we could jam. It's a dry side pot though, so like what benefits does jamming have? When it's a dry side pot, we're just not incentivized to bluff. Whether he knows that or not, who knows? Yeah, maybe just jam actually. We end up going with this milky size. He goes all in. And now it's a fucked up spot. Would he do this with King Queen? Against our size, maybe. Because maybe he's supposed to bluff against our size, like value bet thinly against our size here. This hand I've just fucked up, basically. Because I suspect I'm about to fold, and I think now it should just be a call. Because we beat value, and now we put some money in the pot. He's maybe more incentivized to bluff. Versus our size. Yeah. I think probably just pay the man his money here. Although I'm pretty sure I'm not going to. That hand was just a massive clusterfuck. That was not a well played hand by me. I mean, as I said at the start, I was 8 table. It's not an excuse, by the way. It's just a reason. I was 8 tabling. I was a little bit struggling with the pace, but nevertheless, this hand, raise flop, bet turn. Don't bet this size on the river. Don't fold to the raise. I think I've misplayed this on every single street. We did fold. As it happens, we only had a set, so we saved money. But that doesn't mean I played the hand well. King, king. Open. 3 bet. 4 bet. Call. Get small. You waterage. You fucking waterage. Bet your hand small, Reg. I mean, yeah, fine, he's got aces in range. So fucking what? We got an overpair with the flush draw. My thought process in game here, my default thought process would have been, he still has aces in range, 3-5-8 mono, not great board for our rail. I'd have been thinking a lot of fucking nonsense sorts that may or may not even be right. And then range check, Reg, just fucking range check. And just fucking bet your hand, Reg. Just bet like quarter pot, 10 big blinds, whatever. Checks back, turn 6. Now we go with a small bet. Villain calls. River 7. So there's a 4-liner out there that, I mean, what 4x should he have? Ace 4 suited, maybe. Unlikely, but maybe. What 9x does he have? Maybe pocket 9s. He still has aces in range, I guess. I think just block this river. Maybe that's too big. Oh, no, the cunt's all in. Fucking Reg. Come on. At the start. 29 bigs, just jam flop, Reg. I didn't realise he was this short. Just jam the fucking flop, Reg. Just fuck off, Reg. Now, I might not even have noticed his stack size because I was like 8 tabling. Some good lessons to. I'm going to play my session, first session day shortly after this. And maybe there's some good lessons to be learned that maybe I shouldn't 8 table. Or if I am, make sure that I'm paying attention because I just noticed his stack size now. The flop's just a jam. And shut the fuck up, Reg. I mean, pre-flop's just a jam. Is it? Is pre-flop just a jam? No, not 50 bigs. No, pre's not a jam, but whatever. I mean, the guy did have a 4 in range because, I mean, I hope we got this guy tagged as a fish now. I mean, he's got reasonable stats. 25-19. This is what I mean by tight fish. The guy's got reasonable stats. He's called a 4-bet with pocket fours off 50 big blinds. I mean, there's so many of these players that exist in poker now that look, statistically, they look like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing a bit. And then this happens, and you're like, okay, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Fortunately for him, he came up against somebody who should know what he's doing, who isn't executing very well. Anyway, king, queen suited, 3-bet. And now must be later in the day when I started switching to my larger 3-bet with a more linear, narrow range. We get the call. Flop the world. Check. Bet small here, mostly with a bit of check. And this isn't a great board. I mean, under the gunplay, he's going to have every set in range. Probably has Jack Queen suited in range, even though he shouldn't have it. That should just fold pre. I suspect it doesn't by humans very often because it's fucking pretty. Because Jack 10 suited in range 2, 10-9 suited in range 2, 8-9 suited. So this guy's maybe he's just a check back because there's hands in his range here probably that shouldn't be there. Like 8-9 should just fold pre, 10-9 should just fold pre, Jack Queen should just fold pre, 6-7 should just fold pre. Well, maybe 6-7 no, maybe 6-7's calls. But maybe we do just check back here because humans are just going to have an awful lot of strong hands on this board. We do go with the bet. I mean, it doesn't matter. We've got a good shot, 2 overs and a flush draw. I mean, what more can you ask for? Brilliant calls. Turn the nuts. Check. We have SPR 2. So we can just over half pot here. SPR 2. If we go half pot, it's going to put 18, leave 60 behind, which is going to be half pot and then 3/4 pot. So we just go slightly bigger than half. Then we're close to 2E. Do go slightly bigger than half. He calls again. River's an unfortunate queen in terms of like it slightly weakens our hand strength because now we chop with some King X. But it's a great river because there's an hour straight on board, and if this guy's a moron, he might call for a chop. Check. All in. Call. And this guy did indeed call for a chop. And didn't get one. King, queen, off, open, fold. Versus 3x. I don't love this spot. I certainly don't want a 3-bet versus 3x under the gun. I don't know what the machine does. I don't really care what the machine does. You can't plumb 3x into the machine for a start, and we don't know what this guy's range looks like. We can have a clue, but we don't know because we don't know enough about him. I think just call here and proceed with caution. 6-6-5, completely pick the flop. Brilliant now, range bets. I'm presuming since we're seeing a river here, I'm going to check raise this board on the premise that we have way more 6x in our big blind range than he has in his under the gun range, which is true, but he still has all his overpairs, etc. that just are very, very unlikely to fold. Maybe just fold now. And fuck the fact that we have more 6x in range. This is me just trying to be theory orientated. If we raise, yeah, this is me like, oh, I have more 6x in range, I call, forgetting that there's not a fucking chance in hell that this guy's going to fold like 9s plus. I mean, we get him to fold ace high probably. We also get him to fold stuff like queen high, king high, sorry, queen high, jack high, 10 high, etc. Which isn't a bad result when we're out of position. But yeah, there's just no need to do this. Call. Turn ace, which I think is a relatively safe barrel card because I think we folded out a lot of his ace X on the flop. So I think now at this juncture, he's like 8s through aces in range. 8s through to pocket aces. Obviously, if he's got 6-7 suited or 6-5 suited, he's still got them. Pocket 5 still there. But I think generally speaking, after raising, we should just barrel this turn to break for all intents and purposes, and we still have a load of 6x in range. Don't like this size. We check raise flop. We should go polar. Don't like this. Should definitely be going bigger here. Because if I do have 6x, we want to get stacks in by the river. So I think we should just go, if we went pot here and he called, pot will be slightly too big. Maybe just under pot and then jam river would be my value line. So I don't like this. Don't like it at all. He calls. River deuce. Empty the clipper edge, I guess. Yep. I wouldn't hate this. If I'd have bigger bet turn and shoved river, I'd have been completely fine with this. I think my mistake, well, I think two mistakes here. Number one is just check raising the flop for no good reason. And then number two was like the half pot on the turn. It just doesn't make sense. We want to be all in by the river with our value. And going half pot, 2/3 pot is just fucking rubbish. This is really bad by me. We should definitely bigger bet turn. Should definitely jam river if we want to take this the line of check raise bet. Don't like this. And the guy had ace king anyway, so we saved money again. We didn't lose as much as we could have there in the line we took, but I just think I took a bad line. The check raise and the flop is like really not necessary, and the turn barrel is just a per size, which means we chose a shit size. Yeah, just another badly played hand. Pocket aces, 3 bets. Again, using the bigger size. 4 bet. Well, we know I'm just calling. I mean, I think when they go this size, we can just jam. But we have like made it bigger because this is like a relatively big 4 bet size. But that's because we made a larger 3 bet. But does their range now contract more towards value when they're 4 bet because they're facing a larger 3 bet? It probably does. So we should probably just fucking ram our aces in his mouth. We didn't. We called. Dude bets flop. We're just going to call, of course. Bet small turn. There's just no reason to raise. We're going to be left with about half pot on river. And whatever. And this is what it is. We actually did well not to jam pre because this was one of the guys who finds the ace-5 4-bet pre, which not everyone does. So fair play to him. Don't know what I feel about his triple off, to be honest. I suspect it's ambitious. No, probably not, actually. I don't know. And what's more, I don't really care. Open, call, fold. Flop ourselves an overpair. Donk. We had on the deeper side here. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to call. My autopilot always just calls here. Again, I think it's another spot where we can start thinking about raising. And maybe raise is just a better play. Again, if someone's in here with a set or somehow randomly got 2 pair, which is unlikely, it's 9-6 deuce. There shouldn't be much 2 pair out, but there can be sets out, of course. Just raise reg. Oh, we do raise. Call. 3. Check. SPR2. If we bet half pot here, at least 3/4 pot river. So again, 2E would be just a bit more than half pot. I like it. He calls. River club. Check. There's no reason not to be all in here. We just need to be all in. Yeah, we just need to be all in. Oh, reg. I know the backdoor flush has come in. Oh, reg. I'm sad about this one. I mean, we just should have stacked queens. We just should have stacked queens there, and we didn't. That is not good. So that's like, my takeaway from this today is don't forget to get value, reg. This is just really, really shit. Really, I mean, I've played so many hands badly yesterday. Played so many hands badly. That's just another one. Ace king. open, 3-bet. I don't mind occasionally having traps here. I think 4-bet's a standard play, but under the gun open, small blind 3-bet is going to be pretty narrow here. If we 4-bet and we get jammed on, we have a cry call off, which is an easy line to play. It's probably going to be my preferred line, but I wouldn't hate having the occasional trap here. Well, not necessarily trap, but just, okay, mate, you want to 3-bet versus man of the gun range, let's just call and have you try and negotiate. Oh, hang on, I've just seen his fucking stack depth. I should just go all in. That's what I should do. I did just go with call, though. And then it's just going to play itself. Call. And really nuts, call. And the guy had ace king that we beat. But yeah, just rip it pre there, Edge. King, queen. Open. Frankly, against someone with these stats, I can just get on board with folding this from the small blind against middle position. Obviously, we're not going to. I think fold might be a better play versus a tight player. Calls. Flop a pair. And a mono flop. C-bet. Way too big. Way too big. This should be like 6 or 7. He calls. Turn trips. Keep betting now, I guess. Call. And all in. This is me trying to get a naked club to bluff when we know it doesn't happen. I need to seriously upgrade my autopilot again. We've done a lot of upgrading with the MDA stuff. I'll be honest, the last week or so, I've regressed a little bit from like doing the MDA stuff. And it's just through, well, could put it like lack of concentration, lack of focus, just lapsing back into my comfort zone, basically. Yeah, I've definitely regressed. Because this is just an easy bet. I mean, we're just going to call now, obviously, and lose to a fucking board. But nevertheless, I need to go through my MDA notes before I start my session and remind myself of the kind of stuff we're meant to be doing. Because there's definitely been some regression in my play in that over the last week. And never more so has it been on display than today. Last hand. 3-bet in the ace 10 suited. Again, I think we can have some flats here. Don't think we need to 3-bet this hand, but we are up against a 79-39. So maybe we just 3-bet this hand for value. We are deep. This guy's never folding. Pre-flop fold equity doesn't exist here. But we can definitely call with loads of worse hands. But then when out of position, we're going to have a problem realising all of our equity. Because this guy was very aggressive post-flop too. Maybe we do just call pre against this guy. Maybe we do. I wouldn't hate that. I know people don't like calling at the small blind, but it's happening now. I look at some GTOs and stuff now and again, and the small blind is starting to have flats. Don't know why, but it is. Anyway, we get the call. It's going to be a tough spot now against this guy. Don't really want to range bet 7 Jack 8 against somebody who doesn't have a full button, but I don't want to check and face a large bet either. Maybe just block, see what happens. We do go with check. Willem does bet as expected. We have the obvious easy call. Turn ace, check. He bets half pot again. This guy was a blaster. He was just at airing range a lot when he was betting. There again, it's just an easy call. Do a check and easy call again. But he checks back. And he finally, I say gave up with 9-4. He rivered a pair and mistakenly thought it had showdown value, or he just gave up. One or the other. Who knows? So anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, I don't think I've covered myself in any glory whatsoever. But this is why we do these reviews. I do these reviews most days of the week with just on my own, but I like to do it on video too, so I can really, really hold myself to account and look myself in the mirror and be like, that was fucking shite, Reg. And again, you know, there was some shite in there that is indicating to me I'm definitely not executing very well on the strategy that myself and my friend Johnny put together. So yeah, need to remind myself of all of that. It's just a list of bullet points, but I need to remind myself. I'll probably have it up whilst I'm playing today, so on the side, just to remind me, as a constant reminder of what I'm supposed to be doing, because I've regressed quite a long way from it, and yeah, it's going to be easy enough to get back to it, but this regression shouldn't really happen, but it has, and it'll probably happen again sometime in the future. Anyway, I'm off to play a session for a couple of hours before settling down to enjoy Cheltenham again this afternoon. If you're playing at Cheltenham, well, you won't see this till mid-afternoon. I hope you've had some winners. In fact, you won't see, if you're watching Cheltenham, there's fucking no chance you're going to be watching this shit in the middle of the racing. So I hope you've had some winners. And depending on how much volume I get in today and how many hands get matched by my filter, there might be another video tomorrow morning, there might not. But for now, I'm out of here. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye for now.